Hello and welcome back to another episode of Project for Expert Talks. And today we have with us our distinguished guest, Vivek Dani, who is a seasoned data and applied scientist at Microsoft with an overall experience of more than 8 years in data science and machine learning. Welcome to the podcast, Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So, Vivek, could you just introduce yourself to our viewers, sharing a bit about your journey into the world of data science and your current role at Microsoft?
Sure. Happy to. Currently, I work as a research software engineer at Microsoft Research. Before this, I have worked as data and applied scientist at Microsoft IDC, just another wing of Microsoft. And I have, as you mentioned, like I have around about say 8+ years of work experience. Before that, I did my master's and have been in this field of ML for quite some time. Solved a bunch of different problems at Microsoft, uh, ranging from say maybe making co-pilots, from solving ranking and recommendation related problems, uh, solving supervised learning problems like churn prediction, or some incubation work like say um, coming up with the automatic meeting scheduling assistant for Outlook. So yeah, this has been my high level journey so far. Happy to talk.
Awesome, awesome. So, Vivek, since you've been in this field for so long and you have quite a lot of experience by now, so how do interviews for applied scientist positions vary, and what are the different elements that individuals should be aware of when they are applying to top tech companies like Microsoft?
Right. So it mainly depends on project for which you are getting interviewed. So like in general, if I have to say on very high level, there would be data structures and algorithms round. You would be asked to code, uh, and there would be a couple of machine learning related rounds, and there would be a general high level discussion on say machine learning system design. But the questions that are being asked would be dependent on the project for which you are being interviewed. So mostly, if you are being interviewed for say NLP project, you can expect more NLP related questions. If you are being interviewed for computer vision project, you can expect some computer vision related questions. And for data structures and algo, at least again, like whatever I'm saying is based on my experience, and I don't claim to be saying the 100% whatever is 100% truthful. It's just limited to my experience. So for data structures and algo, I think questions would be around lead code medium types, and there would be a couple of questions on machine learning fundamentals. So yeah, so in applied scientist role, you are expected to do software engineering work and machine learning work both. So end-to-end ML lifecycle is something that you are expected to do. So I think they assess based on that, at least at Microsoft here.
Okay, so having said that, Vivek, in your experience, so how can individuals and your candidates who are planning to, apply to such companies for these roles, how can they effectively prepare for these, variations in such applied scientist interviews across companies? Are there any common challenges that you can relate to, when being interviewed for
Hmm.
a similar role?
Right. So I kind of have friends across different companies, and we do share the process, or like whatever is open to public, those things. Um, so from what I have heard and what I have seen, the process is a little different for different companies, and and you should keep in mind that whenever you are applying for a specific company, make sure your preparation is aligned to that company. Like for example, if you are applying for companies like say PayPal, Gojek, Uber, these companies work more on classical machine learning, that is tabular data. That is because they have more business use cases in that domain. And most of the times, things are defined by business use cases. So maybe in interviews, you might expect questions related to classical machine learning, like say random forest and SVM, bagging, boosting, and stuff. Uh, of course, deep learning. I don't know. There would be some project somewhere in those companies wherein deep learning would be there, but percentage would be less, is what I feel. Similarly, the other way around, if you're applying for companies like say Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, you can expect more deep learning related questions, like say Microsoft, Google, Amazon have their own clouds. So definitely there would be more deep learning based projects because they have that infra. So accordingly, the interviews would also differ, and accordingly, the questions would also differ. Uh, and also there has been quite some different variations for other companies, like say LinkedIn. LinkedIn, from what I know, LinkedIn also asks the interviewees to uh, code the ML algo, like say code this particular ML algo during the interview, which is not being asked by other companies. So that is mostly possible if you have practiced coding the algo from scratch, like say decision tree, or I don't know, k nearest neighbor. So if you have practiced, only then you can write it in that short span of time. So interviews in general, on high level they are same, like say data success algo round, machine learning round, machine learning system design round, but the content of these rounds differ from companies to companies. So yeah, it's better to have a strategic preparation rather than like preparing for everything and covering the breadth and losing out on depth.
Wonderful. I think that's actually a very, practical perspective for our viewers. So, Vivek, as we are discussing, applied scientist positions and their interviews, could you also provide some insights, into the differences between Microsoft Research and Microsoft IDC? Like specifically, how do the roles and expectations for ML positions differ from Microsoft Research rather than, applied scientist positions at Microsoft IDC?
Sure. Um, Microsoft IDC is an org where most of the product-based work happens, and Microsoft Research is place where most of the research work and incubation-related things happen. Uh, so, in my opinion, a research software engineer at MSR is equivalent to applied scientist at Microsoft IDC. So both these roles need software engineering and machine learning skills, assuming that you are you are associated with the research project in ML and MSR. So the skills needed are same, but the end goals are different. Like say in IDC, you would be working to solve for some business use case. Your work would be associated with some product, and what work you do would be defined by the business needs. Uh, in MSR, your work would be associated with some research work or some incubation or some societal cause, or it could also be directly or indirectly related to to a product. uh, so work wise, and or rather the skills needed would be like almost similar, but the end goals are different. And similarly you can find some subtle differences, like say if you are in IDC as applied scientists, there are chances that you can get involved in things like maintenance and DRI work of the product. This thing may not be there in MSR. So MSR is mostly like you work on the latest state of the art technologies in solving problems. You finish, you make it, and then you give it to the product. You don't have to maintain that, or you just kind of help shipping that, and that's it. Then the product takes over. So I think that's the subtle difference that I feel.
Okay, okay. Also, Vivek, as we are, exploring the various roles within the machine learning landscape, particularly looking at positions like, applied scientist, data scientist, machine learning engineer, software engineer in machine learning, and even research scientist, could you help our viewers understand how the roles and responsibilities for these designations basically differ across tech giants like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta?
Yeah, this is little or like slightly messed up across the companies. Like different companies have different titles for the same role. Uh, so let's talk about Microsoft first. So over here, when we say applied scientist, um, you are supposed to take care of machine learning lifecycle from end to end. You need software engineering skills. You need machine learning skills. Same is the case with Amazon. When you say applied scientist at Amazon, same is the expectation over there. Uh, However, in Google and Facebook, the titles are different. The titles are software engineering slash machine learning. So that's equivalent to applied scientist at Microsoft. Uh, when we say research scientist at say for example Amazon, they need little less of software engineering skills, and their work would be more towards ML, and slightly less software engineering work. Uh, when you say research scientist, at Facebook, or a researcher at Microsoft, then in that case you would be needing a PhD plus postdoc, and you should be a high profile researcher in your domain. So that's a top notch position, I feel, and it's like pure research, no software engineering, pure research, read papers, publish papers and stuff. And talking about machine learning engineer role, it involves more software engineering skills and less machine learning skills. So mostly you can imagine something like, um, you should know what the input and output of ML model is, and just ship that in production. Make sure it's working fine. It's okay you don't know the architecture. It's okay you don't know how it works. It's okay you don't know how to train it, but you should just be able to ship it and productionize it. So that's ML engineer. And again, as I said, research software engineer at Microsoft is equivalent to applied scientist. Uh, so yeah, I think the roles. I mean, you'd find similar roles in different companies, but different names. And one more thing, I maybe I forgot the data scientist role. There's also a data scientist role at Google. So over there, you need more probabilistic and statistical experience, and less uh, work is related to training the ML models and all. It's more like use quantitative approaches and queuing theories to look at the data and make business decision. So data scientist at Google is again totally different. It needs probability and stuff and less ML models. So it's kind of better to kind of check with the recruiter once on what do you exactly expect in this role, because you would find same title but a different meaning in different company.
Okay, so from what you have shared with us just now, I believe there's a lot of overlapping going on between all these roles
Yeah.
across all the tech giants, and there's a lot of chaos and confusion among the candidates, I believe. So Vivek, how does the educational background basically, such as the need for a master's degree or a PhD, vary for all these positions in the industry today?
um PhD, I feel PhD would be needed only if you are targeting a researcher profile. PhD and postdocs, those are needed only for researcher profile. But if you are planning for, say, applied scientist profile, then PhD may not be needed. Yeah, I mean, if you like to do, you do it. But if you don't do PhD, you can get 2 or 3 promotions and get to a higher level in the company by just working over there and not having the PhD. So that depends what you are targeting. Master's degree is something that I would say you should try to have, because most of the job descriptions that I see, they do ask for masters. Uh, in companies like, say, I don't know, Google, Amazon, even Microsoft, at some places, it's written that master's degree it's a plus or more preferred. Uh, so yeah, for applied scientist, even BTech works. If you have masters, then great, you would have an edge. If you have PhD, then it might be an overkill, is what I feel.
Okay, so Vivek, haven't talked about, the educational aspect, especially for those aspiring, to become a master in the field of machine learning. Could you share any insights from your end into what specific areas one should focus on, while studying, and how, individuals can actually navigate the learning journey or learning path to become proficient in machine learning?
All right. I don't know uh, how accurately I'd be able to answer this question, and also I don't think I'll be able to give an exhaustive list, but I can share whatever is at the top of my mind. Uh, so I think the basics of machine learning, the algorithms, the basic concepts on the losses, and understanding why the things would work for these use case and why these things would not work for these use case. Why a particular algorithm is a best fit for solving this problem, and why is it not a best fit for solving other problem, is something that helps, because all the algorithms doesn't work for all the use cases. And this is something that one would get to understand once they understand the architecture and the internals of it. And for that, again, there's a dependency of some basic engineering math, like say probability stats, linear algebra, multivariate calculus, sequences and series. I think there's a course on Coursera which teaches these things in very nice fashion. Um, there are multiple YouTube channels. There are courses from Stanford available for free on YouTube. Like say some to name some, there's CS224D for NLP. There's CS231N for computer vision from Stanford. And there are other YouTube channels like say Yannick, Kilcher, StatQuest. So these are something that I refer more often because they discuss some of the latest trends in ML. Uh, and Yeah, these things do come in handy. And Again, like definitely, maybe I would be saying something that everyone would know already, but nothing beats the hands-on experience. Uh, because like say some people would give suggestions like say do more Kegel, but I don't strongly recommend that because the challenges that we see in online scenario, in live production scenario, are different from what we see in Kegel competition. So again, based on what your goal is, so if you're planning to solve some use case, better get into some industry and some project which solves ML problem and get hands-on experience. If you're trying to work on some state of the art, like say I don't know, machine translation, or getting some new object detection, then in that case Kaggle related stuff would help. So that depends. Accordingly, you can choose what to try on for offline or online.
So Vivek, when you talk about the importance of gaining hands-on experience by working on industry level such projects and use cases, so I'd like to mention here that on Project Pro, the we have industry level end-to-end solve projects basically, which are related to data science, machine learning. So I think such projects could definitely be more helpful for individuals who are looking to get hands-on experience basically, and such practical experience would basically give them an idea of what sort of projects they might be working on when they actually go ahead and join any of the tech giants. So I think viewers should keep this in mind, that if they want to gain hands-on experience, they should be more experimental towards it. They should have this approach wherein they should look for such industry level use case scenarios, and try and experiment with more tools and technologies, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yep,
So yeah,
absolutely.
and apart from this, Vivek, what strategies or resources other than these do you think individuals should look out for to basically just keep themselves updated with what all latest advancements and trends are there in machine learning and AI?
Right. That's actually a difficult question because even I do struggle by myself for this. So here's something that I do, and maybe like if viewers have better strategy than this, then do let us know. I don't know, maybe in comments or anyway. I don't know. It's going to be posted on YouTube, right? I assume.
Yes, yes,
So
of course.
yeah, so maybe in comments, maybe yeah. I'm again like I'm not endorsing anything, but yeah, because it's just an open problem over here. So I follow a bunch of people and channels on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Like say follow Facebook Research, Microsoft Research, follow Yen LeCun. Um I don't know if I pronounce this name properly. And follow all the latest researchers in the topic of your interest. And generally they do keep on posting the latest models, latest research on their channels. Um, so that is something that one way to shortlist on what you should read. But again, there would be a plethora of things, and even that shortlist also would be a very big one. So now what you can do is two things. First is that narrow down on your field. Like whether what's your interest? Is it computer vision? It's NLP. So if you are more focused on NLP, then try to read more on NLP, and it's okay if you don't read much of computer vision. And second, again in NLP, your the channels that you're following would have a lot of posts, right? So you cannot read all the papers and all of them. So since you would be following multiple of them, find that which is that particular model, paper, or anything that many people have posted most of the times, right? So if you see that, I don't know, say transformer, 10 people are posting in your social network, then definitely this is something worth reading. All right, so accordingly you can cherry pick and shortlist the things to read, because you don't have all the time in the world to read everything. So this is something that helps to see what most of the people are posting in your field, and have a glance to that. And others, if you still don't have time, then just have a high level idea on what this model does, what are its input outputs, and what are the benefits or the highlights of it. You need not go into the architecture. You can have a look at it when you need it, but just have back of your mind that this is something that it does, so that you have a quiver of uh, ML concepts and models, and you can choose from it and go deep into it whenever you need it. So don't go into the FOMO that, hey, okay, this llama model is there, I don't know it. It's okay. When you need it, you go dig deep into it.
Awesome.
Was that a
Okay.
boring answer? I felt you were
No, no,
a
no.
little busy.
I actually believe it was quite informative because what happens, Vivek, I mean, a lot of times since we are all in the tech industry, a lot of times we actually, struggle to keep ourselves updated, and we are still
Yeah.
struggling to find what is happening, what is the latest news in the industry. So I think this is one of the most important questions, and I think your answer would be, quite helpful for the viewers as well, because we all focus on learning so much that we actually forget about keeping ourselves updated with what's happening latest in the industry. So yeah, I think that was a pretty informative answer from your end, Vivek.
I hope so, because I don't know, even I do struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of us do actually. So I think it's going to help a lot of us. So yeah. And Vivek, as we wrap up, could you just provide, sort of guidance from your end on any strategic career planning that the viewers and individuals who are, aspiring to build a long-term impactful career in data science?
Uh, like if you're focusing on data science, here's what I have observed. Uh, Recruiters in most of the companies do give extra edge if you have a good amount of publications and patents. So focus on that. Patents cost some money, so maybe if you are in college, that may not be possible. But papers is something that you can try even when you are in college. When you join a company like in any big tech, they generally assist in patent process. So first is try to have good papers and good conferences, in good conferences and patents in your name. Second is try to narrow down your field of interest. There are many fields in ML: reinforcement learning, computer vision, NLP, and like whatnot. uh, as we discussed, right, it's difficult to know everything all the time and stay up to date. So better is to narrow down your field of interest. Say, okay, I'm interested in NLP, so let me give more time in reading on NLP and less on vision. So it's okay if I don't know everything in vision, just high level few things. So narrow down your field. uh, Even in NLP, if you want, you can still narrow it down further. Like, say, in NLP, I'll focus only on language translation. And it's okay if you don't focus more on summarization or question answering and all. You can do that. So this is again more like strategically using your time to sharpen your knowledge base, so that you can say that, okay, I'm an expert in language translation, right? Uh, and it's also just full use of your time. And also, when you decide your field, make sure that you are aligned with industry. So something like, say, if you choose, I'm just hypothetically making up something, say if you choose reinforcement learning, but there are no jobs in reinforcement learning in market, what will you do with that knowledge? Of course, if you like it, do it. Nobody is stopping you. But if you're planning for some career in some big tech, uh, see that what skills do they need. If they do not need reinforcement learning, maybe that should not be your focus, unless you explicitly like it and you are not aiming to that to be your job. So also see that in which direction industry is going, and keep yourself up to date with that. So a right balance between your interests and the direction in which industry is going. I know this sounds little counterintuitive because most of the people say that follow your passion every time. Sometimes that doesn't work. Try to have right balance between the two.
Wonderful, wonderful, Vivek. I believe this entire podcast has been, quite engaging and informative for me as well as our viewers. So I believe, yeah, it's quite helpful. And thank you so much, Vivek, for joining us today and taking out time for this podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Thanks for
was
having
wonderful
me
to have
here.
you.
Yeah, thanks for listening me, bearing with me, and I hope I mean whenever it gets rolled out, I wouldn't bore the viewers, and I hope I have contributed my bit. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vivek. Thanks a lot.